Hello, hello. Oh, I royally messed that up. I was talking for a little bit. It was completely muted. Let me actually check my audio real quick. I mean, my setup has changed once again. Oh god, I'm so loud. Hello, hello, hello. Actually, it's pretty quiet. Or at least the music. Let's turn the music up. Oh jeez. What am I doing? Oh. Curse you, audio setup. Hello? God, the music was so quiet before, what the heck? Alright, I think this is probably better. But it's kind of hard for me to tell because I still have my headphones on. Alright, I think that's probably good. Sick. Alright, so what are we going to be working on today is... back to just my long-term project that I've rewritten a few times. So let's see how it goes. Etc, etc. Okay, cool. So, this is what we have so far. Currently rethinking how I'm doing a lot of this stuff, but how neat. Sick shader, etc, etc. Nice outline. It's a bit jank since it's it also extends inside of the model, but we can tweak that. We can tweak it in post. Not in post, but it's just what they say in the biz. Alright, let's open up this. I was actually working on this before the stream as well. So I was playing with a C# build, but turns out C# is a little jank. A little jank in Godot. Yeah, it's like if you want to interface with Godot types using C#, you had to be very careful because you also lose a lot of the type information. Whereas if you just do everything in GD scripts, you know, the interpreter just figures it out. Whereas in C#, you have to be very careful. Be very, very careful. Because everything just gets cast down to like built-in engine types. It was interesting though. It was interesting, but just couldn't make it work earlier on today. Let's see. Message. Well, this is more just like a print error. Well, should probably be like a print debug. How to connect signal. Nice. And of course you want to print here, so I can't actually use my game manager logging system. But, whatever. So, what I'm working on now is just the weapon firing logic, so you can currently locked your camera since you have screen scrolling. Hold on. Let's just do this. Bonk. A little hot in here as well. Turn on a fan behind me. Do an input unhandled. That's input. GUI cancel. Very easy. To get trade. There we go. And that's just for debug purposes. We'll take it out later. Said every developer ever. So to do debug only. Implemented for base weapon, that makes sense. Unarmed is just your basic weapon. And then we'll do here. It's all your connections, constructing your FSM states, and then we'll do if open mount child count. What is it? Child. Zero. Or I guess it's less than 1 actually. Doesn't matter. If it's less than 1, we'll give you the default weapon. Actually, let's grab that. Default weapon, we'll just make it unarmed. Very easy. Then weapon will equal load whatever this is new. Suppose I could preload it, but you don't really need it too often. Well, you know what? I've convinced myself. I'll do const default weapon, which isn't really a weapon. Call it default weapon. Oh geez, the base in this one's actually pretty high. This track. I used to use in-ear monitors, but now I'm just using kind of some cheapo, open-backed headphones. Mostly because I got tired of squeezing monitors into my ears. Let's see, this is just default weapon. Well, actually, that doesn't make any sense. It should just be called unarmed. Unarmed. Otherwise, this will be weapon mount. Get child 0. So we'll do weapon is equal to weapon mount get child 0. So there's not really any instance where, well, right now where this will be visible, right? Unless I do something like this. Control A, just slap in a base unit somewhere, put you here. Actually, all base units, oh, they all have a weapon. Oh, hello, JK. JK, please. How are you doing? Oh, my duck is not on screen, by the way. I messed up. We can do this. Please be it? No, this is not it. This is, where is it? Oh, this is. What happened to my, oh, did my duck crash? Is that why it's not using? No, my duck is here. I didn't notice. It just kind of ran away. How strange. Not able to capture. How are you doing, JK? It's been a little bit since I've seen you. Not to call you out or anything. Just an observation. It's a bit, it's weird. Where's Pool, Mr. The top hat laptop? This program has gone through a pretty big rewrite in terms of configuration. So I had to scrap all the config files. Oh, we're crashing. Oh, that's good. That makes it easy. Hold on. So the program is a little less than stable. Let's do this one. This one's a bit more stable since it doesn't use export template I just compiled a few hours ago. Yeah, we can bring those back. We can bring those back. Not the hardest thing in the world. Hello, I'm a duck. Let's see. Where's the Godot thing? Is it an assets icon? That's a good one. Let's see. I think everything should still work. Yeah, everything still works more or less. So there's the Godot icon. We'll just track it like this. Actually, we won't track it just yet. We can bring back the top hat as well. Where is the top hat? Is it in? It's in Blender Work. Top hat. And top hat in the GLB. Grab all this. So very carefully insert it on top of Godot. Alright. Sick. Then track this. Try not to move my head too much. Doing. It's beautiful. Let's see. There. Right. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Oh, you know what? It's because I renamed the EXE since I was doing some C++ stuff. Yeah. I made some engine modifications because I thought that the latest Godot beta would solve all my problems concerning custom builds. But as it turns out, they have made the very strange choice to disable runtime loading when you export, which is very strange. So I submitted a patch, but it feels like they're very, very against the idea of runtime loading, which I'm very disappointed in. Even though my solution works and doesn't use any of the editor-specific features, which is what's their main point. So instead of responding to my argument, they have instead decided to ghost me and hope I'll go away. I'm very familiar with that kind of treatment, though, because that's the professional special. That's what they do to you in the business. Not angry or anything. That's good. I guess technically this is wrong in how it's displayed, but we won't worry about that too much. Let's see, weapon mounts we'll add. Pistol. So here's the idea, right? It's the RPG RTS with a stronger emphasis on, I guess, the RTS layer than the RPG layer, since we're trying to keep this simple. But we have, I'm making this really simple. It's top down. Weapons are in, I guess, just side view, and then we'll just display it like that to make it really simple on me. And I'm trying to just get something done. I'm trying to kind of pare down the scope of this project. Although I was working on a C# build of this, but C# and Godot is kind of weird. You gotta approach it differently. And I couldn't figure it out because I was trying to do it the Godot way. But I think you might need to do a few different patterns if you're doing C# and Godot. Even though C# is a first class language in Godot. It's officially supported. Yeah. I'm just not familiar with it, so I'll have to wait. Have to wait on that. Let's see. Amazing. I do like how they're all on the same sprite cycle though. So there's our base unit, not selectable. You can select the enemy, which is interesting. Did not intend for that, but pretty cool. And look at that. The logic for this is flexible enough, so you can single select one enemy, but if you try to select like any of your units, it will try to default to selecting your units instead. So kind of a neat feature that was accidentally implemented. I did not mean to do it, but I'll accept that it's there. Got rubber banding as well. Let's get out of this. What is this? FSM. Attempted to free a locked object. Oh. Well, we just memory leaked a little bit. That's cool. Let's see. If we can do a check here. So if self. What's the thing I'm looking for? If not self. If not self is queued for deletion, then free yourself. I think that should work. Right. Boom. Nope. Attempt to free a locked object. Calling or emitting. That's a bit weird. I haven't run into that before. So if I do... Oh. That's because I'm calling quit. Yeah, I've never called quit before on this. I usually just stop the debugger immediately. That's interesting. So this is an object. Maybe it might be better to have this as a reference instead of a node. Although the problem with making this a reference is that you don't really have control over it, right? Instead of relying on Godot's internal reference counter to, handle it, control it, all that good stuff. So self. What if we do this? Var mutex. As some sort of mutex. Not a multi-mesh. I want a mutex, please. Then we'll do mutex. What does try lock do? I only know lock and try lock, or lock and unlock. Oh, you probably don't want to do that, by the way. I'm just realizing that. What happens if you free the mutex? If you free the current object? Yeah, I probably don't have access to this. Let me see. So on base unit. Base unit. What? FSM. Construct FSM states. When do I ever call this function? Am I dumb? FSM. Give me the FSM. Is it in-game manager? Maybe. No. Is it in test screen? Test level. No. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. Right. Because I'm not even calling that function unless FSM. When do I call cleanup? Connect tree exiting, clean up. Oh. Oh, that's the approach I took. I have to say that because it's been a very long time since I've done this. So tree exiting, self clean up. So the idea is that the FSM would clean itself up, so it doesn't leak on exit. But it's possible you don't need to do that. What happens if I do this? Do I leak object instances if I do this? I'm pretty sure, yeah, I did leak. Yeah, so you do need to do this. Huh. It might be better to actually do this instead. So tree exiting. Might have to do it like this on the base unit itself. For any unit that implements an FSM, it has to do this, which is exit tree, void, we'll do FSM. Oh, we don't want to clean it like that. Change everything here, so we'll do clean up. It's not really a connection anymore, so we'll also remove this. Add this to the right bottom, and then we'll do FSM cleanup. Beautiful. And so that should work, right? Boom. Attempt to free a locked object, calling or omitting. Okay, well that's unfortunate. I thought that would really work. Attempt to free a locked object. Godot. Attempt to free a locked object. Call deferred. Oh. So I don't think you can call deferred, right? Call. Oh, you can. What do you know? What do you know? I didn't know you could do that. So go here, clean up, move this back to a connection. We'll have to get rid of this part because this no longer exists. So exit tree, boom, 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 get rid of that. There's a lot of setup, but trust me, this will pay off, maybe. Probably shouldn't trust me, actually. Self, and then clean up. Right. Boom. Yeah, look at that. And did we leak any object instances? We did not. Oh baby. Yeah, I think that's actually that. Yeah, at this point, this is a pretty good implementation of a completely code-based finite state machine. How neat. And then there's just the one state idle. But whatever. So unarmed. Alright, so this is what I was working on before I started streaming. Is the kind of weapon system. So everything is kind of a struct, right? Or at least that's how you can kind of think of it. So base weapon, attack at, and then we just have not yet implemented, always a good one. And then we'll also open up pistol, and then we'll need to do this. Func, attack at, position, sum of vector 2, which returns null. We'll just do return true. And what that really means is that we're about to just grab the raycast to do some stuff. Very easy. So we have our raycast, right? So we'll do raycast? What are the associated raycast functions again? Raycast 2D. Got collider. Cast 2. Yeah. What's that one? Cast 2. Yeah, probably cast 2. So cast 2. Yep, that matches up with whatever the inspector says I have. So attack at, I'm thinking I'll probably just be passing in global coordinates. Probably makes the most sense. Actually, what did I have before? DE, distance, attack position. Attack position is in global coordinates. Tries to attack at a given global position. Returns true if the attack is possible, and then of course returns false if it's not, but you know, there are two types of people in the world: those who can extrapolate from incomplete information. Let's see. So that's a position. Actually, we already have our weapon here. So we'll just do weapon, attack at, yeah, that's really it. Attack position does not equal global position, easy. And then if weapon attack at, then do a thing, otherwise do some other thing. Not sure what I think if your attack at was not possible, then you should do something else. Well, yeah, of course. Out here dropping logic bombs. Let's see. If weapon attack at attack position, then we'll set all of these values so you can no longer attack, and then we'll also start your attack timer, basically your attack delay. And then for the pistol, let's see. I feel like I should give each weapon a collision area, like a collision shape, yeah. So that collision shape can change based off of whatever you need it to do, right? Right, so this is your area TD. Currently doesn't do anything, and that's kind of the point. Well, now I'm thinking about it. Does that make sense to give everything a area 2D? Or it might only make sense for certain things. Yeah, okay. Let's wait on that. Yeah, so base weapon doesn't have any collision detection, right? Because for unarmed, it doesn't make any sense for you to have, you know, any collision detection. Whereas for projectile or for hit scan weapons, it does make sense for you to have collision detection. Yeah. Let's actually do this. So we'll do base weapon. This inherits from base weapon. And we'll call this hit scan weapon. We'll call it hit scan weapon. Phenomenal. And then this will be the base. This inherits from base weapon. And then we'll just have a really gross object-oriented hierarchy. So there's two types of weapons you can have. You can have projectiles, which have a travel time, and then you have hit scan, which, if you are familiar with first-person shooters, or just shooters in general, in the past couple of years especially, most of those are hit scan. So this is hit scan weapon. And so biggest change is this one is hit scan. Oh. Let's change this. Is hit scan. Is hit scan. True. Hit scan weapon. Is hit scan equals true. Well, I don't need that anymore, right? Yeah, it doesn't make any more sense. Right? To have that flag if I'm already dividing it up by class. Yeah. And then we'll do hit scan weapon. Get rid of pistol. Hit scan weapon. We'll rename this to pistol now. It's more or less the same thing. So save this as pistol.txtscene. File exists, overwrites, oh baby. Case mismatch. What? Case mismatch opening requested file pistol text scene stored as pixel text scene in the file system. This file will not open when exported to other case sensitive platforms. What do you mean? That's a weird bug. Don't really know what happened there. Yeah. Now we can do hit scan weapons will all have area 2Ds. So that's your, I guess your hit scan. Hit scan area, we'll call that. Hit scan area. Now we're starting to build something kind of cool. So that's your circle shape. Make it, I don't know, yay big, I guess. Yeah, about that big. Let's make it 100. Nice round number. So this is your hit scan weapon. This one, pistol. Hey. Load this in. Extends hit scan weapon. Yeah. So hit scan weapon inherits everything from a base weapon, but then hit scan weapons in true object-oriented fashion will also have on-ready hit scan area, which is some sort of area 2D. And we'll load that like so. Hit scan. Oh, I missed a word. It's on-ready var area 2D hit scan area. Not too many ready things that you need to do in this kind of, this is more of like an abstract class if you want to go full Java on that, or C#. Alright, and so that's your area. You'll probably need to do some manipulation on that in order to resize the area. Actually, no, you don't need to do any manipulation via code. Right? You can just change the area whenever you want. So just go to collision shape and change the size. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, and that's kind of the grouping that's possible with the pistol. And then we can have some sort of like calculation. Although that does feel kind of bad, right? If in an RTS your units are able to miss, and the chance of missing is actually random. It's not based off of, I guess, line of sight anymore. Whatever. We'll see how it feels. We'll see how it feels. Attack at position. So we'll do hit scan area dot global position is equal to pause. Right, and so we'll move it over there. Well, no, we'll need to do raycast or just raycast. Why did I call it this? It should be ray underscore cast, since it's two words inside of the editor as well, or inside of Godot. So raycast dot cast to raycast to... I wonder, how do I get the distance? Or actually, no, right? It's just like the range on the weapon. Yeah. Yeah, so all you need actually for a raycast is this. Not the properties, it's force raycast updates. Or no, we just do get collider. Updates the collision information for the ray. This method. Use this method to update the collision information immediately instead of waiting for the next physics process call. Oh, actually, enabled is not required for this to work. Oh, interesting. Maybe we can turn this off. Yeah, since we don't need to raycast every single frame, right? We only need to raycast when this happens. So raycast. Force raycast updates, oh baby. And then if raycast. Get collision, get collider, get Wait, what does this give you? Raycast get collider returns the first object or null. Is colliding. If is colliding. If is colliding. That's how we can do it. Please send me back. So if raycast is colliding, then if raycast dot collide get collider, and the collider is some sort of object. Oh yeah, and then we can check the that needs to change, or else it's gonna give me kind of weird bugs in the future. So, base weapon. We'll do like intended attack targets, something like that. Var intended target. Some sort of string. We'll set it equal to just none for now, the none group. And then here we'll have to do, this is all this the weapon initialization, right? Intended target group equals so unit type. Yeah, so we'll match unit type. So if it's game manager player group, then your weapon intended target group will equal game manager enemy group. And if it's enemy group, then your intended target group will be, of course, player group. This is, let's leave a note, this is weapon initialization. We'll probably have to write some more code in the future in order to, I guess, make it more functional. Because right now this is pretty like hard-coded. that's fine. Space weapon, that's good. Ha ha ha. And we'll do is in group intended target group. Intended target group. So if your collider is a node and the collider is in group, we can take out this actually. Collider is in group, intended target group. Let's see, if I do this, if not, collider is node. Wait, so if collider is node, then we'll go on. I think that makes sense, right? Yeah. Actually, we can do... I think I actually prefer writing my stuff like this nowadays. We do return false. Boom, boom, boom. Then var collider. We get collision. So of course, we kind of guarantee that this will be true. Always nice. And then if not, collider is node. So if collider is not a node, return false, and then we turn that false into true, which makes this if statement true. But if both of these are true, then it'll be false. Then this will be returned false. Because, right, so if our raycast is not colliding with anything, then if our raycast does not collide with anything, then who cares, right? Yeah, if our raycast doesn't collide with anything, then we don't care anyways. It doesn't make a difference. If our raycast is colliding with something, but it's either not a node, which is unlikely, or the node is not in our intended target group, aka like the unit cannot see, right? Then we can also return false. We can assume that you don't have line of sight, and then your unit will need to try to reposition themselves. Otherwise, we can do hit scan area is now equal to your attack at position. Actually, that's a little tough. That's a little tough, right? We can do if position is if the distance between, so global position distance to this position, this given position, which is a global position, is greater than raycast dot cast2 dot x. Well, cast2 dot can we just get the length? No, cast2 dot x, right? We can guarantee that it's only ever going to be the x. Right, since we just rotate all the objects anyways. Return false. So if you're trying to attack a position, but one, your raycast is not long enough, return false, you're not able to. If you're trying to attack a position and your raycast does not collide with anything, then return false. And then if your collider for your raycast does not show that you are, I guess, attacking the target. Does that make sense? I wonder if that makes sense. Or if you should just go like full, kind of full red alert and then just make it so you're able to shoot behind buildings. No, I think this makes sense. I think this makes sense. Yeah, so if your raycast is not long enough, and I think that kind of incentivizes like changing your weapon if you want to attack at a longer range. Or if you don't have line of sight. So, for example, you could be behind a wall, so that would be an invalid attack. Yeah, here we go. Hit scan area is equal to the given position. Do I have any RNG? I do have RNG, so I have... Well... Yeah. I suppose then you should also have, like, the hit chance, I guess. I don't really know what I want to do here. Alright, so this is basically a really basic, you know, if I can see you, then I shoot you kind of situation. Like you play it as kids. Hit scan area, global position is equal to... Or we don't have to do this, right? And just assume that we hit based on... Yeah. I think that's good enough, actually. We don't need the area. No hit scan area. We won't even use it. Just assume that the pistol hits for now. Let's add a note, actually. So I'll do. So get rid of this. To do. Not using areas for now. Yeah. So if the attack is possible, then return true. And then we have the collider was executed. Yes. So we have the collider. And then we do check to see if the collider was an enemy, so that we can do collider. Let's see. Base unit, let's add one of these public functions. Gotta love public functions. So we'll do attack. Yeah, so I think the way I want to do attacking is that units attack other units, but units don't get attacked. They only attack others, if that makes sense, right? So we'll look at it as from the perspective from each unit, so they attack other units. And the reason why I need to make that distinction is that if I count both instances, then we'll be double counting an attack, right? So if units look for getting attacked and also listen for attacking other units, then each unit will be, you'll count the attacker attacking someone else, and then the defender counting their defense. So we'll double count everything, which we don't want to do. So this is apply attack. We'll call it, yeah, this is just like attack value, which is some sort of, I don't know, we'll think about what exactly I want to do. Collider. Apply attack. So I can always guarantee that this will be valid. Attack value, though. What do I want to do there? What was I thinking here? So each weapon, we can do like attack power as well. Bar attack power. Some sort of flow. We'll call it 10. That's always it's a good number. Pistol, yeah. Apply attack power. attack value, attack power. Or we'll call it receive attack. Yeah, receive attack. I before E except after C. And a bunch of other weird instances of the English language. So this is some sort of floats that'll come from the weapon. And let's see. Hit scan weapon. Yeah, let's open up hit scan weapon and then we can have just different enums. So we'll do enum attack modifier. These are a list of possible attack modifiers. None is equal to 1. Or no, none is not equal to 1. None is equal to 0. So indexing is 0, and we default to none for all possible things, right? I think that makes sense. So you have an explicit none value, so if you ever fail, or you can, it's possible to have a failure state basically for your attack modifier. That's not how you spell modifier, by the way. So if you ever forget to set it, we'll fail fast. Oh baby. Yeah, so there's none, and then we can have, I guess, just normal. Yeah, or I guess just regular. We'll call it irregular. This is just a regular attack. Well, then we have, I guess, pushing. Also a good one. So you have a pushing attack, you can have, I guess, a crippling attack. Crippling. That's about it, right? Yeah. Yay. Lower attack modifier. I suppose it would be possible to have two at once, but then I think I would rather just have, or just I'd rather be sending an int every single time as opposed to an array, right? Because arrays are a little more inefficient, and then I think I would have to refactor into this anyways. So we'll have regular, pushing, crippling, and then pushing, crippling. You can think of most attacks as already being regular unless it's none, which we are set here. Can you not do that? No. Scan weapon. Attack modifier. This is not valid. It's not a valid type. Oh. Okay, but we can do this. Modifier should be on base weapon, right? So we'll do one of these. So all weapons can have that value. So base. Yeah, this will be attack modifier. Base weapon. Attack. Hold on, let's do it here. Weapon, the very bottom, do base weapon, attack modifier, hey, attack modifier, like so. Hey, is it not an enum? I feel like I've been able to do this before, but maybe not. Didn't I do this attack modifier? Did I spell it wrong? Wait for it. Nope. Guess you just can't do it. How sad. I'm fairly certain this is possible to do in C#, but let's not go too far off the rails just yet. We can start rewriting this later down the line by using the mono build. But not just yet. So receive attack. So when you receive attack, we'll send over the current attack modifier. So attack modifier, which right now for pistol is nothing. And then unarmed, I suppose we'll also need to do this. Attack modifier is equal to attack modifier regular, even though you don't really attack with with unarmed. And here, do attack modifier is equal to attack modifier, just regular as well. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. So we could also just like randomize the attack modifier that we send in based on some RNG. Yeah, could happen, could happen. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. So it doesn't always have to be a regular, but so it goes. Let's do attack modifier. We'll do a match on attack modifier. Would be base weapon. Always accessible. How nice. Regular base weapon attack modifier. Let's see what I call it. Pushing. Pass. Don't do anything just yet. Base weapon attack modifier. Crippling. And then base weapon attack modifier, pushing and crippling at the same time, and then the error states, which is the entire reason why I did this. Not implemented, I suppose. Or we'll just do a log message instead. Log message invalid attack modifier. Hit it with one of these. Attack modifier true. Sick. So we only have regular implemented right now. Each unit will have certain stats. So unit stats, let's do, there's the speed modifier. I think also health is also a good one. I think health should probably be a float. Let's call it 10. So the reason why we're doing it as a float is so that we can do, unit status bars. So, and also the status bar can be counted in the UI. You know what? I'm thinking of something. Do I still have the mono version of Godot? Oh, no, I don't. Okay, hold on, we can do this. Godot beta 3.4. Dev snapshot. Beta 2. Oh, we don't want the beta 2. Isn't the beta 3 out? Beta 3, yeah. There are a few enhancements that have occurred since that beta. However, I think it's probably fine for now. Yeah, 2 hours ago actually. Yeah, a lot of these are for portals, so who cares? And translations. Yeah. Path 3D. Viewport rotation. Yeah, let's try to grab the mono build. Kind of forgot how to speak for a little bit there. Windows 64. I'll wait a little bit. I'll be right back. returned. Just checking my audio settings. I always get super nervous whenever I leave and come back. Does something happen to my audio? Ooh, look at that write speed. Ooh. Ooh. My SSD. What are you doing, dog? What are you doing? What the heck? It's so slow. Please tell me my hard drive is not about to fail. Oh jeez. Okay. I was getting a little scared there. I was starting to get a little scared. Yeah, let's open up C# Godot. C# is always fun. I want to do this in C#. I have the itch to do this in C#. Alright, I've been wanting to work on something that's a bit more structured, if that makes sense. So really quick, let's go here. We can get rid of this, because I'm not working on this pull request anymore. This is mostly done, actually. This is where the fun begins. So if we open up, some of these things have to be in GD scripts just because it's just too hard to, or I guess the structure has to change too much in order to comfortably do it in C#. But I think doing it in like a weird mishmash of GD script and C# would be fun. There was one thing you needed to do when doing C#. Let me see. Godot, C#. So there's additional notes. Bum, bum, bum. Don't care, don't care. I think something about the naming thing needs to be different. Keep in mind the class you wish to attach to your node should have the same name as the .cs file. Keep in mind that the class you wish to attach to your node. Class? Class? Let's try it. So we'll do units. Yeah, I think one of the big problems is that you cannot extend. Like GDScript cannot extend from a C# class. So if you're going to do it, you need to commit to it. Which we're going to do. Let's do it. Units, new scripts. This will be kinematic body 2D. Call this. It's not really idiomatic C# to do snake case, so I'm going to do uppercase this unit. Updating Godot API assemblies. Alright, so open this up case. C#, baby. C#. Mixing the two in one project. It's not something I haven't done before, but I think it might work. Enable. So I think there should be a few things. Yeah, there's mono debug. Yeah. Just have have a million extensions running. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, I mean, yeah, there's a few things that we can do. Public override. Void. You're not gonna give me a. Okay. Is the linter not working? What the heck? No code completion? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Public override. Void. What are you doing? Oh, this is... I was trying to find the solution, but it took a while. Ooh. Starting OmniSharp server. Are we done yet? Are we done? Update projects. Is my... Oh, okay. Is my computer dying? There we go. I was wondering when it was gonna ding me for using Java style brackets. So, can we do this? I actually don't remember if you can do this, which is protected, read only. Protected. So this needs to be a resource, unarmed. It's equal to GD load. We'll grab one of these. Oh, look at that code completion actually working. Okay, so that appears to be fine. I don't know if it's actually fine or not, but let's see. Protected as well. Yeah, I need to look this up actually. I'm pretty sure protected is the same as not giving them, or almost the same as not giving them a visibility modifier like in Java, but it's just more explicit. Visibility modifiers, yes. What is, or access modifiers. Public, protected, internal, private. Yeah, but what happens if you don't have one? Is it just protected by default? I forget. The containing class or types derived from the containing class, yes. Current assembly, protected, internal. Private, protected. Package access? I don't remember. Then move distance to 10. You can just do 10 half. Getting confused going between the two. Spacing modifier is equal to 10 half. Is that right? Do we want this to be protected or should this be public? Probably be nah. Probably fine. Protected. Constant. Line with, let's see, 20F. It's a good one. So everything is spaced out, just how I like it. Alright. Alright, so this should be should I use protected or private? I feel like protected is good because you can 100% inherit. While private feels like it's just for the current class and only the current class. I'm gonna keep doing this until someone tells me otherwise. So this is protected float health, which is 10F. And then this is just public float health. Get set. One of those. Yeah, buddy. So these are units. Float speed. 250F, then hit it with a property speed. I am speed, etc., etc. Protected. Float speed modifier. Which is currently 1F. Public floats speed modifier. Actually, is that right? Yeah, that's it. What did this generate? I need to refresh myself on C#. I don't usually do a lot of C#. So C# property get set. Okay, W3 schools. What's the shorthand? What does the shorthand give you? Oh, so that does not define the field. Oh, that's weird. Yeah. That's weird. Probably won't do that. You know what? We're gonna do that. But how do you give it a default value, by the way, then? Hold on. Isn't it like this is the idiomatic way of doing it? And then if I get rid of this, right? Then we do generate. Public float health. I don't know. Should probably just do fields for all of them, right? And then set everything in the ready function. Or not even in the ready function, just set everything in the just the constructor, since you have constructors in C#, or you're allowed to have constructors and the ready function in C#. Yeah, we'll do that. Let's see if we can do it. So that's your speed modifier. And then because this is C#, we can actually do this. We can do public base units. No constructor arguments, and then we'll do health is equal to 10F. Speed is equal to 250F. And then speed modifier 1F. Phenomenal. Public pool is selected. Get set. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not this is idiomatic. property. I don't know. When would you ever use a field? C# field versus property. Oh, I've clicked on this before. I just forgot the answer. C# should you use get set. Auto property. Oh, does this mean I still have access to, like, health? No. I think that's kind of how it works, but not really. As selected, false. So in the implementation, it does create an automatic variable for you, but in reality, it doesn't actually do that. How boring. I suppose it is better than Java, though, where you need methods to expose everything, and so you end up with mega classes, which are never fun. Public. This is just a vector2. Move to position. Get set, and actually this one has, I remember this. This one has kind of a funny way of doing things. Oh, no, there's an on-ready var. All right, let's do this somewhat quickly. Alright, so to do this, you do. I'm trying to remember the syntax. Very Java style. So gets, and then this just returns move to position. I am working on a game for once. So this is one of the first things I started streaming development on, and it's gone through a number of iterations before. Although the idea, of course, has suffered from a lot of feature creep. So, an actual game, right? It's bizarre. It's been a little while since I've worked on a real game that I haven't had in my head for a while. But I don't know. Right now, I kind of had the itch to do like something in a real language, as some people would say. So it's most of the code is in GD scripts, but I'm kind of playing around with converting it, or converting bits and pieces of it at least, to C#. But I mean, this is all I have right now, and hopefully it doesn't break because it's incomplete. A real language, yeah. Well, you know. So I guess, but this is what I have, right? So we have all of the tooling I have for my previous stuff, which is the really fancy camera with I guess the automatic rubber banding, so you can't zoom in too far. And then you have selection stuff, which is using some of my older code, so you can do something like this, right? So if you can single select an enemy, and then it would pop up in the bottom left there. Sometimes I wish I did more 2D. Yeah, I did work on a 3D game for a game jam, but that was a little while ago. This basic click selection takes way more in 3D. Well, I think it depends, right? So if you're doing like Unity 2D, I think Unity 2D is basically just 3D, so you can still raycast from the screen in Unity 2D. I think in Godot it's actually a bit more, I guess, fun or easier to do. And also, this is a holdover from my older implementation, so you can do something like this, right? So if you select multiple units, it will not select the enemy unit, but if you select the enemy unit by himself, you can select the enemy unit. But, so if your units get too close, like this, then you can select, just do a drag select and get them out of there easy. Took me to get set up for a few of my games. Godot. I only do Godot stuff in 3D. I had to set up some weird stuff with raycast, casting, and offset to make sure it was the right thing because of my grid map system I was using. Interesting. I don't know. I feel like I've done... I had a 3D build of this going at some points, and I had drag select working, which was basically just... what was it? I did like an initial raycast, got that point, and then wherever you mouse deselected, I would then generate a mesh and then just kind of, or not a mesh, it was it just a rect 3D or something like that? Yeah, I mean this is the implementation I'm using, unit selector. So I grab the physics space. This is a new one, I didn't used to use this, but then I just look for intersections between the rectangle and the world space. Kept selecting the wrong one whenever it was near the edge of a cell of a grid map. Oh, if you're doing... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't usually use grid maps. I usually just try to avoid those, like... In a lot of my newer games as well, I won't use the built-in grid map or tile map, I'll just build my own. Because I feel like it gives me a lot more control. Yeah, every day, the more familiar I come with what the more familiar I become with what I'm... Does that sentence make sense? The more familiar I become with what I'm doing, the more I kind of prefer rolling my own implementation. Tile maps I heard better stuff about, but grid maps, oh boy, so many issues. Yeah, I don't know, I don't have any experience using grid maps in 3D. I did write this thing. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this one, Dream Diary Jam, which uses for one of these level. This is open source, by the way. Yeah. So here's this one has a kind of weird chunk loader. I forget how the chunk loader works though. How did I do this? So yeah, this is basically like a really big grid map. Not really, actually. Now I'm thinking about it. It stores things in a 3D grid so that you have an infinite world, more or less, but it's not like a grid map, I suppose. The origin of the cell is centered in the middle, so if you try and do, say, a wall and floor, which is what I've done a lot. Oh, okay, so then you need to think about the extents, so you need to make the origin of the floor be in the middle of the wall, not in the middle. Wait. Origin of the floor. You need to make the origin of the floor be at the middle of the wall, not the middle of the floor. You need to make the origin of the floor be at the middle of the wall, not in the middle of the floor. Basically, pull the floor down. Same under. I think I get it. Maybe. apply to locations as origin as at the world origin. It's hard to explain. Yeah, it's I think it's one of those things where once you see it once, it makes a lot more sense. Yeah. If you don't do that though, you end up with floor is floating halfway up on the wall. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Which is really annoying. Yeah. I think I get what you're saying. I think that's why I like having my own like custom rolled chunk system. So instead of using a grid map, I just kind of freehand all the levels as chunks and then just kind of place each chunk by hand. So it's not really using a grid map, but everything is just loaded as a grid, loaded on a grid, stored in a grid. Yeah. I'm not super confident in making a complete system for some of this stuff. I don't know. I mean, if you want to look at this implementation, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's a good starting point if you want to look at it. Available on my GitHub as Dream Diary Jam 5. Anyways. Let's continue on with the C# stuff. I'm not really a C# boy, which makes this somewhat difficult. I know there are Java bindings, or it's not Java bindings, it's Kotlin. But I think that's something I would be a little bit more comfortable with. But this is, as always, a learning experience. So I'm using a grid map for a game where I wanted a specific procedural generation for maps. And since it was so grid-based, I figured it'd be easier than trying to handle the offset grouping of loading myself. Yeah, I can see that. I've never done procedural generation, so I get where you're coming from. I think that's what I would do as well. So that is selected. Oh no, move to position. So this is factor 2 diff is equal to value minus global position. Oh, and then I don't have body sprite yet. Okay, hold on. Body sprites. We'll do sprite public sprite body sprite. And then we'll just have to onReady var this. It took me a little too long to get the procedural generation working because the only code implementation I could find to base it off of wasn't exactly helpful, mostly because it relied on some sort of calculation between different binary IDs for the tiles. What? Different binary IDs for the tiles, so I just ended up cheesing it. Yeah, well that's game dev for you, right? Is that you have the beautiful design in mind, but then at some points, it's not worth it anymore. Get node. And so then you just end up, you know, as you said, cheesing it. Where is the sprite? It's just called body. Body, there we go. Binary numbers to reference a tile so they could calculate like corners and stuff. I plus skip every second tile but save them. Plus skip every second tile but save them to an array that it then goes back to and turns all into floors. That sounds very complicated. That sounds very complicated. I think the algorithm I would go with, just off the top of my head, right? And since I also just generally try to do everything by hand instead of using the grid maps, right? Is that you would have, I guess, your tile size. Like I tend to think of everything in chunks, right? So you generate things chunk by chunk. And so you know how big each chunk is. So, mine was also better than theirs. Just a super basic maze generation algorithm, and you need to tweak it an absolute ton. Oh baby. I don't know. I mean, couldn't you do something like this where you... I'm just gonna type into GD script here. So you have something like your... assuming that you're doing things like chunked, right? You're not just generating each grid row on the fly. Right, so if you have, you have your something like your chunk size, which is a constant, and each chunk is a square, which makes it really easy. So you can say that your chunk is like 100 wide, right? Of course, I'm pseudo-coding this. And then you would just apply your maze generation algorithm to just that one chunk. And of course, you do need to make sure that your chunks do connect somewhat if you're adding walls and whatever, but let's simplify that. So you have your chunk size, do something with your maze, I don't know, it's like, then you have your chunk, and then, apply maze generation for your chunk, for your given chunk size, right? And what that apply maze generation would do would be no, this is C. That's C# syntax, but some algorithm. I don't know what the algorithm is, but I don't know. For I in size, blah blah blah, right? So you have a few arrays for your rows. So var row, var column, and then for I in size, do thing to row and column. Was the thing about grabbing the available neighbors per tile and then randomly picking one real simple? Okay. Hello. I mean, this is my idea for how you would do it. If you're doing it by hand, is that you would have your algorithm in here, have your chunk size just be preset, and then you would just need some way to store all your chunks, and also, I guess, find your chunk neighbors. But move back to the last tile with available neighbors. That's basically the setup minus the grid map. Hey, he's done it. Yeah. Well, managing things without a grid map isn't too bad either. Once you have a system going, it's not too bad. Right, it's just a system of... It's just a 3D array, right? So it's an array inside of an array inside of another array. Here we go, depth first search. Depth first search. Grid map just makes it nicer for handling placement and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I like having things that aren't locked to a grid, but that's because I generally prefer to freehand my object placement at this point in my life. Done and loading. I had to figure out how to make it easier on the system close to the way the grid map did it. I don't know. I mean, this is the approach I went with. And let's get completely distracted here, and also burn out your retinas by opening up Paint. Right. So loading is really simple once you have, I guess, the algorithm in mind. And so this is how I do it. Boom, boom, and then center line. Procedure. I just throw together a couple of tiles. Yeah. Yeah. I don't need that. See, this is your tile map, and then you extend it. If you just add a Z to this, then it becomes a grid map, right? So if you're handling loading, a grid mesh handle grouping meshes to help with performance, better than loading a bunch of mesh instances or something. You can use a what is it called? It's called a multi-mesh, right? So if you know what all your meshes are going to be ahead of time, you can just use multi-mesh. Multi-mesh. What's it called? Multi-mesh instance. Yeah. Never mess with it it works how you think it works, right? So you add a bunch of meshes to it, and then it batches them together. Yeah. And then to implement your own grid map, you just need to always have 16 tiles loaded in. You know? Or if you're doing it in 3D, you'll need 64 tiles loaded in all at once, right? Because if you start here, then you'll have these tiles loaded in. If you move here, then you'll have these tiles loaded in. But then you also need to keep these tiles loaded in just in case you wiggle across the boundary. Right? And then if you move here, then you need to have all of these loaded in, but then you also need to keep all of these loaded in. So, because if you cross back and forth here, you don't want to unload and load rapidly. And then similarly, if you cross here, then you need to have all of these loaded in. So in 3D, you would end up having 64 chunks loaded in at once, just in case you wiggle across a corner really fast. I wouldn't be handling the chunk loading and unloading of this specific. Okay. Well, okay. That's the only thing I'm really confident in is my chunk loading algorithm. Alas, I don't know anything about procedural generation though, other than you can do noise generation and then just kind of tweak it a little bit. Because it's tower defense. Tower defense. Tower defense is kind of like an RTS, except your units don't really move. Or a tower defense is like an inverse RTS almost. So body sprite. This will be body sprite dot rotation is equal to, is it math F? Godot math F, yes. Arctan 2. Ooh. Heard like a creaking behind me, which kind of freaked me out. So I'm just generating a generator like maze and doing a top-down view. Oh baby, I love top-down views. You need to give me an idea on how to fix something. That's what I'm here for. It's just to spew out random garbage and then kind of randomly make progress on the whatever I'm working on. It should be Godot where sometimes making a nav mesh in 3D is blocked up from editor scripts. I can't bake it after runtime without a third-party thing. Specifically, there's two that are supposed to do it. Godot nav light, which is broken. I've never used the nav mesh in 3D, so I don't know. Godot detour, which is awesome, but it needs access to the mesh, which I can't figure out how to access specifically the mesh. I don't know. Because every access with the grid map grabs, transforms, and mesh. I don't. What do you mean? Does it return like a dictionary containing the transform and the mesh? Kind of like how collisions work, which I actually really dislike. Where if you're checking for collisions, it gives you the collider ID, etc., all in a dictionary, which makes it actually somewhat impossible to handle collisions intelligently in C#, from what I can tell. Like, it gives a big array of transforms and meshes. Ugh. Weird. Yeah, there's some weird design choices in Godot for sure. Like the strong reliance on strings currently. I suppose it does make things easier. Movement. So we'll do public vector 2, move to position. Wait, I've already done this. What am I doing? Is selected. Set is selected. I feel like I'm getting very confused. This is really easy. This one is just I can't just get the mesh out of it to give the Godot detour. I tried like 3-4 times getting a loop to get it out of it. Every one errored out because I was trying to check either a type versus a value or trying to reference a value to a transform. I'm not... I don't know. Something doesn't seem right about that, but I'll trust you. Is selected. Yeah, I feel like it just transforms getting mad. It was weird. Weird. I think the one thing about Godot, which is nice, is that it uses transforms for everything, but it does make it hard getting tutorials on how to do things in 3D, which is not like related to anything that you're talking about. It's just in my experience, is that a lot of other engines focus on using quaternions, whereas everything in Godot is based off a transform, which you still somewhat have access to, right? A transform just wraps a matrix. But that's unrelated. Alright, so this one needs to be is selected, so we do is selected equals a value. Then if value, oh, this one is really nice because it easy moves across like butter. Godot 3D and stuff is just rare because everyone uses 2D. Yeah. I think doing simple stuff in 3D is really nice, but from what I can tell from talking to other people is when you start wanting to do like really cool rendering stuff, that's where Godot really struggles. Let's see, material, that is equal to body sprite material, and then we'll do material, oh, we can't do that, we can do shader material. So we can just assume, oh my god, okay. Static typing. Hello, Dota 2 attitude. Yeah, that's so funny. Is that a JoJo reference? Any major issues in 3D myself? Let's see, like render test. I've heard about performance issues on bigger projects, so that's about it. I've also had people try to tell me Unity is better than Godot at 2D. So I think everyone, it's just a cult at this point, where you try to convince yourself that your engine is better than the other ones. I think objectively, what I can tell, if you're trying to do shader stuff in Godot, it's somewhat harder than doing it in other engines. And if you want to get really good graphics, other engines give you a lot more for free, whereas Godot, you have to work a bit harder for it. That's kind of my opinion on 3D. I'm trying to hardcore look into the Godot 3D versus Unity. It's so hard to find. That's because no one really, or I guess there's not too many devs that have worked in both Unity and Godot on big projects. Mostly because there's a lack of big projects in Godot. Shader param or width, and we'll set it to our outline width. How nice. Outline width. Let's see, Animal Crossing population growing. 9 a.m. is my jam. Oh, you're someone different. Hello, Motiak. I thought you were AeroX. Your names are both green and the same shade of green, which confused me. Oh, look at this, I'm doing C#. Everyone just says Godot 2D, Unity, Unreal 3D, then compares Unity, Unreal. Yeah, I don't think that's really fair, but I think I feel like Godot 3D isn't super comparable to Unreal 3D. If we're talking about that. because I think the a lot of the defaults in Unreal are just, I guess, better because they don't make the assumption, or they can make an assumption about how powerful your device is. Alright, I think Godot is, for whatever reason, it's stuck on like a really low compatibility bar, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but something I kind of dislike about like software is maintaining backwards compatibility for too long. It's like, I don't know, why are you like shooting yourself in the foot by trying to support 20-year-old hardware that no one's ever gonna use? Hopefully when 4.0 happens, people will start talking about 3D more. Yeah, well, when it happens, we'll see. I think it looks pretty good right now. I think the biggest benefit is that it gives you more for free in 4.0. I think that's the idea. But I think that I've seen a few Reddit posts of there's someone working on a kind of like a spacecraft kind of game. I forget what but it looks really cool, and it's made in Godot 3. So I mean, it is possible to do like really good looking stuff in Godot. You just need to work at it. I went down that rabbit hole recently and found some crazy modules for the engine. Was one of them the dynamic GLTF loader, written by yours truly. The big thing I want for 4.0 is the dynamic nav meshes right now. Just write your own, forehead. Let's see, this is selected. No, we don't need to do that. We just need to do move to position. Position is equal to. Oh, we won't have it. Just set this to vector 2 0. Didn't know that existed. I know enough to write dynamic nav meshes to implement detour or recast. If anything, I've been trying to figure out ways to cheese it. Well, I know almost nothing about those, so probably a good thing. Yeah, no, I was working a lot this morning, which is why it took a little bit for me to start streaming today, but I threw up some PRs for the current 3X branch and 4.0 to allow for dynamic model loading, right? Because that's actually what this app needs, which is the thing I usually work on. Because technically, it is exposed in the engine now, just the raw GLTF loaders, but for whatever reason, they strip it out from the final build. Or the release templates, I should say. Which is just bizarre. And they weren't even toggleable via like a build flag, so that's what my PRs did. And they also stripped out all the editor stuff, but they're really against dynamic resource loading in Godot for some reason. Oh, that's not how you do it. Public vector 2 velocity. How do you spell velocity? Velocity. Hit it with a get set. Animation. What do you mean by dynamic resource loading, and what specifically is the dynamic GLTF for? So you know how in Godot you can load in models in the editor, right? So if you drag in something, it'll start some sort of import process, and then you can view your model in editor, right? So at runtime, when your app is running, you can't do that. There's nothing exposed for you to do that. So they actually hide that code away from you, and they strip it out for whatever reason. So let me see if I can find. let me see. This is easy. No, not this one. This is my Rust stuff in Godot. This one here. Yeah, so these things are not exposed at runtime. Even though you can run it in debug mode, you cannot run these in a release version. It's weird. Same annoying thing with baking dev meshes then. Yeah. Well, I have actually four PRs open, so I've done all the work for them. They just need to merge, and then it's really easy. Otherwise, I have to just use my custom build, which just kind of slaps them back in there and makes it hard to redistribute editor versions. Because all the code for baking nav meshes is there, but they block it at runtime. Oh yeah, that is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird because you can load in, I guess just image files, or at least PNGs. I know you can load in at runtime dynamically. Yeah, it's so mad at. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. They don't like. Well, that's the kind of vibe I've gotten, is that they're kind of against the runtime loading of things, which is just weird. I think I get it on some points, is that it does introduce extra bloats for people that don't use those features, and I mean, let's be honest, it is kind of niche, at least in my case. But the fact that they don't make it toggleable so you can compile your own template, it's just weird. So animation, this is just public animation player. Public anim player, and then public next. Well, this is a public string next anim. Oh, and this needs to be get set as well. Yeah. And then we'll need to do move to position. Velocity needs to be. Velocity is equal to. Oh. What did I do for velocity? Velocity is equal to vector 2, 0. It's like simultaneously I feel a lot more at home writing C# than I do GD scripts. But I'm still in the Godot mindset, so I keep trying to do snake case and all the other stuff. Or I also keep trying to write this Java style instead of C#, which is bad. Snake case is the underscores, right? Does not work in C#. Well, it does. You're just not supposed to do it, right? I think that's part of programming, is making it. One is making the code work, and two is being able to have other people look at your code and read it. Like if you don't ever plan on having other people work on your stuff, then you can follow whatever standards you want, but it is preferable to try to stick to the standard, just in case you do need some help. Well, I guess everyone's gonna mad at me if I reduce C#. I don't like the move to position. Yeah, well, it's just Pascal case. It's if you're doing a Java, you would do like move to position for everything. Java doesn't do Pascal case except for class names. Anim player. The snake case, the underscores made it cleaner for me. I remember Java was pain. I don't know. I think Java is it's a good basic language to learn, because it makes you appreciate simpler languages like Python. Also the kind of person that puts a space between every single line and multiple spaces between ifs and functions. So Python style, I guess, right? That's the Python classic. Is between every single function you're supposed to put 2 new line characters, not just 1, which I actually really dislike. I think I like to group my blocks of logic together. Right, so then I know which parts I can kind of skim over. I just put spaces because it makes it clear for me to read. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but it's at some point it's also like I don't need to read every single one, you know? So whenever I see a space, my mind goes, this is something new, you should actually read the first line. Whereas if I group them together, I kind of in my head, I'm like, I don't need to read the middle one. The important bits were at the start and the end. It's hard for me to read when all the lines are super close together, so it kind of triples my code length. Oh baby, when you get paid by code length. I don't think there's actually many places that do that, but it's fun to think about. Detection. That's not how you spell detection. Detection. Let's do it's public area to the detection area. Oh, we need to wait on that. Still do get set. Isn't there something else I didn't do? Where is that? Body sprites. Get set. When someone to pay me per line, they'll hate me. Well, I think if you can convince someone to pay you by line, they also don't know what they're buying, so I think they'll actually love you. They'll be like, oh, this person, they're so productive. You wouldn't believe it. They write 3 times the amount of code as the other guy. List base units. Is this not what I called it? You're called base unit, yeah. Oh, I didn't give you a name. Detected enemies. Or we'll call it detected. What's your problem? Oh, list cannot be found. So this is using system collections. Generic. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna head out. Gotta do some stuff where the detection stuff goes well. Thank you, thank you. I used to have the detection stuff running in Rust. I haven't actually gotten too much done. I'm just struggling writing all of this stuff over again in C#. The downside of writing C# is that there's a lot of, or a language like Java or C# is that there's a lot of boilerplate. But the hope is that it's cleaner. So like the idea too, I might be able to use the multi-mesh idea with a Godot D2 to get my nav meshes working, which would be awesome. You're welcome. I'll send you a bill later on tonight. That's a joke. For legal reasons, that's a joke. But yeah. Take it easy, relax. Always good seeing you in chat. Apologize for not being too productive, but I'm trying to figure out C# and Godot. No, I don't have access to this. So how do you access and get GD scripts from C#? Let's see. Godot, GD scripts from C#. Cross-language scripting. So I know how to do this in Rust. I know how to do this in C++. Probably 2 scripts we'll use as references. Okay. Instantiating nodes. Instantiated with new. Let's see. Bar. What? Is this called bar? What? Oh, it is just new. And then it's just a node. When When creating C# scripts, you should always keep in mind that the class Godot will use is the one named by C# file itself. That class does not exist in the file. For example, myCoolNode.C# should contain a class called myCoolNode. Let's see. Once loaded, GDScript can be instantiated with GDScript new. Ah, my GDScript. Oh, okay. Skip. You can use type conversion in casting. Casting and type checking. Throws invalid cast exception. I'm very familiar with this. As operator. Get node. Okay. Type checking if Advanced type checking, pattern matching? What? Oh, this is just regular C#, okay. Accessing fields from GDScript. No, GDScript fields from C#. Oh, you have to use get and set. That's painful. Calling C# from... No, that's not what we want. What we want is... this object call. A GDScript file may not inherit from C#. C# may not inherit from GDScripts. Okay, that's fair. That's a bit tough, right? So that I can't load that in. The entire idea behind why I wanted to do this, unless I do something like this, which is, hold on, give me 1 sec. We go to weapons, and I create a new C# file. This will be C# has to be so base weapon.C#. Yeah, so I'm going to be rewriting a bunch of this in C#. That's the rub. Inherits. I think these just inherit sprites. Yeah. What does base weapon inherit? Sprite? Yeah. Okay. So if I go here, we can open up base weapon. That's C#. There we go. So we can have public. Base weapon. That's not how you do it. Weapon. Get set. Beautiful. We'll go back to base units. Yeah, and then we'll have to do just one of these in the ready function. So something I like about C# is that it does have a constructor. Oh baby, I miss my constructors. Shorthand for everything. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Public unit type. Actually, I can create an enum for this, right? So here. So public enum. How do you do enums in C#? C# enum. Microsoft Docs. Yes, please. Public abstract class. Public class not make these like public? Yeah, public. Why did not? You should have given me this. Public, Oh, I need to give it a name. So this is just unit type. Right. And then this will be none. And then you don't need to actually give these a value, right? Yeah, you don't need to give these a value at all. None, player, and then how do they do it? Okay, so it's not all caps like in Godot. Yeah, then we can just do enum to string, right? For string s in enum get names weekdays. Okay, so you can just do get names, and that'll get you the name of the thing. Very good. Unit type goes under miscellaneous. I think this is one of the few holdovers from Java I really like. Actually, this isn't really a holdover from Java. This is just like a previous team that I've worked on. I like to do it this way. So you try to group all your like fields together. Unit group, and then we'll call this unit type. Well, no, this is unit group, unit type. Just get set. Oh, what's up, Knock? It's going all right. Going all right. Can't really complain except that I have to go to work tomorrow. Just absolutely dreading it. Isn't the music a bit loud today? You tried. Is the music really that much louder? I did notice it was a bit quieter than usual, which is why I turned it up, but I suppose it is louder than usual. I'll turn it down a little bit. Let's drink us some water. Yeah. But today, figured, I don't know, just felt like I wanted to do some non-Python style code. I don't really want to do any Rust either. Let's just try to convert this one into C# and see how it goes. Use C? No. I was working on some I was trying to work on some Java stuff earlier today, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Oh, the syntax is so clunky. I forgot how clunky just regular Java is. C++ builds character. Yeah, I don't know if I want that kind of character in my life. Sorry. Big sorry. Okay, so let's do. Have you used Kotlin? I've looked at Kotlin, and it looks pretty good, to be honest. I haven't tried it though, since it looks like it's like super recommended to use JetBrains, whatever the JetBrains IDE is, which I'm trying to avoid using for now. Because I like just having the one editor that I use for everything, aka VS Code. Okay, so this needs to do using system, using Godot as well. Public class FSM. Should go back to Python Lisp. Build a game with Piglet. You know, that might be fun. That might be fun. Highlang. I don't know. I want like a middle of the road language. I like using these kind of middle of the road languages. Like, it's not super verbose, like C. It's not super confusing like C++. You don't run into borrow issues like with Rust. And and on the other hand, it's also not like super floaty like Python or GD scripts. No joke, it sounds like fun. We could, yeah, we might. Maybe on Tuesday I'll do that. It would be a fun detour, I suppose. You could always go love 2D. Ban this man. Use the wrong kappa. That's not even how you kappa. But no, I don't really want to do Lua. Lua is like too far in the same direction as Python. Man, finger slipped. No excuses. No, love 2D and Lua. No, I group those in the same camp as Python. It's just a little too floaty. And you know, I kind of group Golang in the same camp as Python, honestly. Golang is kind of weird. I was working on the Discord bot. I was just like, I'm so mad right now. I don't want to work on this anymore. Like, I keep running into like interface issues. You're nuts. No, you win. I might dislike Golang, but it's a good language. It's a good language depending on what you're doing. I will not say that it's a good language in general. I think it does have its issues. Get set. Like, I think what I like about it is that actually, what do I like about it? I like its syntax. I like the syntax a lot. I think trying to implement interfaces is a huge pain. And the fact that you can't, it's not really object oriented. So you cannot create like arrays of, you know, multiple types of objects that all inherit. Hello, wow, much, such Shiba, wow, much Shiba. Show me a language that's perfect for everything, don't use scripts. Golang is procedural, yeah. But I do like, you know how you can do something like, let me go back to base unit. You can do something like this. One of these has a list. Let me find it. One of these is a list, yes. Detected units is a list of base units, and then you can use inheritance. So you can store all kinds of base units in here, and then you can cast it back out to like the actual type of unit if you want. Yeah. No, I don't do C++. Shiba. I'm not a. Although, check it out, I do have 4 PRs out. That's something that. That's something I failed to mention. I do have 4 PRs out for the Godot repo. Because for whatever reason, they strip out the GLTF module for this app when you compile release templates. And they don't make it an option. So all I did was add that option in, but they seem to be very much against it. And also I just added a bunch of tools enabled. Not really any real changes to C++. I did add a bunch of preprocessor defines though, and then just did a lot of recompilation. But yeah, no, I'm not having fun. Well, yes, Raffle Mal. My Rafflecopter goes swah swah swah. How old is that actually? My Rafflecopter goes swah swah swah. That's from Warcraft 3. That's why open source is good. Is it? I think open source is good because you get updates for free, and you also have the kind of assurance that even if everything goes down or like the main contributors stop, I guess, working on it, right? You're never you know, stuck. You can always just keep developing yourself. Well, at the same token, it's like, that same logic can be used against you. It's like, oh, if you don't like the way that we're doing things, then why don't you just create your own fork, you know? And it's like, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. That's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, if it wasn't OpenCFace GD wouldn't exist. Yes, let me peep this. This is open source, built using Godot, available on my GitHub under OpenCFace GD. Built using Godot and OpenCFace, just OpenCFace regular, which is a Python program, and is also used as the backing program behind VCFace, which is available on Steam, not developed by me. What collections do I have access to, actually? System... generic... Oh, okay. Sick. A dictionary. A dictionary of... let me see. It's going to be... I think a string. String to... FSM... Oh, hold on. We need to implement this really quick. So this is pub... using system. Yeah, I think going back to my PRs is that like some people, the people I was working with before who helped me with the VRM stuff, so the anime models in this, oh geez, where'd it go? The anime models in this, they tried to get the same functionality in, but they were overruled because there was no project that was currently requiring runtime loading of 3D models. And then my thing came around, which is probably why they were so helpful, is that would have helped them as well. I was like, oh, see, there's an actual use case, someone's actually using it. Public FSM states. So we have empty constructor, always good. Then we can have FSM states. What other things would you want inside of FSM states? So you have the empty constructor, and that should throw an error. I don't, because I don't usually use C#, I'm not sure what idiomatic C# looks like. I know in idiomatic Java, you do need to have the empty constructor. String, FSM name. And then you will do something like this. Public string FSM name get set FSM name is equal to FSM name. This FSM name is equal to FSM name. Something like that. Then this dictionary will be string to FSM state. And this will be states get set. Whoop. Alright. Public. Let's do last state is an FSM state. Makes it pretty easy. I'm not sure if this is actually faster than using like a dedicated IDE. I'm pretty sure it's not, but I know in Java, right, you can just type out the fields and then your IDE will give you a little pop-up that says like, hey, do you want to generate the getters and setters for this big project? Which I'm a fan of doing. Whereas I suppose with this one, all you need to do is type out the fields and then type those extra 3, 6, 8, 10 characters, and then it auto formats for you. And then those are essentially your getters and setters, but they're not fields anymore, they're just properties. So I don't know. Why even have getters and setters? Because that's, I don't know, apparently that's how you're supposed to do it in C#. Right? Is that you use these getters and setters in place of like direct field access. Although you can just do it like this if you know that, you know, these fields are going to be public no matter what. But why they don't do anything? Well, it's so that in the future you can do something like this. So you can do, so for example, if I wanted to do some more complicated logic for the getters and setters, you can just change this. So this would be returns last state. That's really easy. And on the next line we'll do, you know, last state is equal to value, or no, you can do like if value is something, I don't know. You can make it a getter setter if you need to later. Well, yeah, but then, right, fields are idiomatically, or by convention, fields are, or not fields, properties in C# are Pascal cased, whereas fields, you would do something like private FSM states last state, like that. Right. So if you just don't have the getter and setter, then you cannot access the field properly. Actually, I think you can, but it's just weird. it's just a weird thing. Like just like in Java, you can have public fields and not use getters and setters, but no one does that because it's just weird. So that's programming. This is very cargo culty. Well, you know, it just makes your code easier to read as long as you follow convention. And that's the convention, apparently. I was looking for the, you know, if you look at my Google search history, it's like, when to use get set. Pretty much all of these answers have, they use fields and then the getter setter syntax. It's just weird. Very cargo culty, very cargo culty. Yeah, well, that's why people don't like Java and C#, right? Is that the convention is very verbose. You can't explain the convention. Well, that's the convention, right? I don't know. I just follow it. I don't make the rules, Knock. I just follow them because I'm apparently a sheep. Think for yourself, etc., etc. So this is obj. Oh, that's not how you do it. It's node. Yeah, some sort of node object. Oh, geez. Actually, I just realized. No, we probably want to do like a base unit. Obj. They aren't rules, they're conventions, just break them? Absolutely not. Right, the convention is there to help other people read your code. So I think if you just like intentionally break it because it's easier for you, that's not a great reason. Unless you're 100% going to be the only one ever reading your code, in which case I suppose it makes sense, but that's something that's kind of hard to guarantee. Let's do this. No, we'll do for each. Yeah, I'm not here to revolutionize the game, Knock. I'm just here to make games. I just used two different definitions of game in the same sentence. How do you feel about that? This dot. Wait, no. In states. Yeah, just like for example, in terms of C# formatting, I actually don't like this style of formatting. I prefer the Java style of doing brackets like this. That's fair, but to be honest, this doesn't improve readability. Yeah, well, you know, getters and setters also does not really improve readability. So I think this is actually slightly better, is that you know that there's an explicit getter and setter, and then also if you don't want people to be able to, you know, you don't want other classes to be able to set your value, then you can just do this. So you only have a getter, no setter. but it's still public. Something like that. I know that's one of the things that people like to use getters and setters for. For each, we'll do... Oh, we don't have this implemented yet, so we'll wait. It'll be something like state.fsm equals this. Then state.obj equals this.obj. You know, what's the meme? Like, tell me you don't like Java without telling me that you don't like Java. You know, states, and then we do state. Oh, I don't even have that. This is state. I guess it's just name equals state. FSM state. Oh, FSM. Wait, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Flick string. Yeah, just name. This dot name is equal to name. Yeah. I don't like JS for similar reasons. Bad conventions I have to follow. Yeah. That's kind of everywhere, right? Is that it's only really with the newer languages that you can start to break convention because, you know, they're not beholden to years and years of prior developments. Which is fair. But I don't know. There's something. And I know this sounds weird, but there's something comforting about having to go through all of this boilerplate. Not true? Well, I suppose it's not true in every case, but in a lot of cases, that's why, you know, they do have the convention. Is for backwards compatibility. And also just for ease of use, right? So if you move from a Java 8 code base, you can pretty easily go to a Java 11 code base because the code is structured the same way. Whereas if you go from JavaScript, it's like, oh, you can do like regular JavaScript, like the kind of like old school JavaScript that I know, where you have like explicit functions and you just kind of slap it into the HTML. And then you have Webpack JavaScript, or I guess it's like ES6, I think, which is just, I don't understand. Yeah, ES6, oh baby. Both Rust and Go have strong conventions enforced by tools. Yeah. Well, those are also newer languages, by the way. You know, they're newer. They're not like Java, which is, you know, Java or C#, which is just Microsoft Java. What do you mean as imports? What do you mean? Wait. ES6? Oh well, have you seen like old school JavaScript and new like Webpack JavaScripts, which is like ES6 compliant? They don't look anything alike, because like right, like everything in like Webpack JavaScript is just it's strongly encouraged to use arrow functions, which is bizarre, in my opinion. I think it's okay, but it just feels, it doesn't feel like JavaScript anymore. That's what I mean, new but strong conventions. Yeah, I don't know. It makes it hard because it's no longer really the same language. The syntax is very, very different. So this one, we have everything. Oh, and then we need, hold on. What happened to my music? Oh, I spoke too soon. Public void. Let's see. Public virtual void. Yeah, that's how you do it. Public virtual void on enter. Yeah, which means you have to overwrite it. Actually, this would make more sense as like an abstract class, but let's not worry about that just yet. Virtual void run, and then this will be some sort of float, runs off delta, favorite airline, yada yada. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm kind of open to anything, but changing conventions for an old language is always kind of a dicey thing to do. Because if you're willing to accept that you're breaking compatibility, not just with like older code, but also with like just reading code, then I think that's fine. But that is something that you have to accept, that you are breaking like literal compatibility and reading compatibility. I think that's part of, that's what they say, right, about code, is that like 90% of programming is just reading. And so if you change something that makes it hard for me to like really quickly read, I think I would actually be against it. Even if it does make it easier to write, I'm just like, I don't really write that much code, man. This dot here. Oh, why did I do this in lowercase? It's Java. I cannot escape it. Okay, obj. This fsm equals fsm. There we go. Then here, fsm, we can start filling this out. All I'm arguing to break familiarity to make it more readable. Well, yeah, but then You're basically just making a new language at that point, right? You've broken compatibility, yeah. So like if you want to do it, I guess, as long as you also acknowledge that it's more or less no longer backwards compatible with previous versions. It's not an incremental change either. Unless you want to incrementally just push people towards the new syntax, which sounds difficult. Yeah, that's a low bar for... What? That's a low bar for new lang and compatibility? What? Not sure if that makes sense. Introduce parameter for state and update call sites directly? What? Huh? What? I'm not sure what this IntelliSense is trying to tell me. This doesn't make a lot of sense. State. And this dot states, which, yes, this states is actually a dictionary, while this parameter states is actually a list. That's actually somewhat confusing. States list. Yeah. Then we'll do. I think it's okay for new languages to. Basically, what I'm saying is it's okay for new languages to try to make things really readable. So like Zig, I like the idea of Zig. I like the idea of beef. Beef is also pretty cool. I think I was thinking about it. Like, what if I just like try to do make a game in beef? That might be kind of fun, since beef is C# syntax with memory management of like C++, plus other things, I suppose. State is equal to starting state. Should be the same thing, I think. I do know that there's like a new piece of syntax for or I guess new piece of syntax for me, where I think you can do something like this. Like this is just a reference. Yeah, I don't know what that means, because I thought that everything was a reference. Like, just like in Java, everything is a pointer. I got distracted. I was just saying, not writing empty getters and setters is not enough for it to be a new language. Or breaking compatibility. Well, but that's just convention, right? It's just convention. And it makes it obvious. So that... Well, it makes it obvious that all of these properties, you can get and set them. Whereas if you don't have the getter and setter, it's like, I'm not sure what you were intending. Did you intend for me to set this? Did you forget to put in the getter and setter? Did you... Or are you trying to be some sort of maverick, really change the game? Breaking convention doesn't break compatibility. It breaks your reading compatibility. That's kind of my second point, is that it breaks your reading compatibility. So instead of just being able to skim it and be like, oh, I can ignore this part, I can ignore this part, then you read it and be like, oh, does this person actually know what they're doing? That's the convention for fields. No, this is the convention for properties. This is the convention for fields. So you do node obj, and that's your field. And then the convention for properties is that you do something like this. I think you can do this. And then set would need to be like obj is equal to value. No, that's a private field. This is a field, this is a property. You cannot do a getter and setter on a field. That's see, this is a field. And that's just the getter and setter. Field versus property, what's the difference if the getter and setter doesn't do anything? You're asking the wrong person these questions, Knock. I'm just following convention. That's how they do it in the biz. You know, I think if, I don't know. As long as, if that's what other people do, then that's what I'm gonna do. Well, the answer is that there isn't any difference. It's a pointless convention. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna change it. it's convention. It's a convention because everyone does it. So I'm not trying to be a super programmer. I'm just trying to make this work in a more structured environment. So okay, there's our FSM. We don't need several of these functions. We do need a run function. So this is public void run, some sort of float. Okay, current state. It's not. Oh, this is not how you do it in C#. It's not equal. Yeah, like I agree, it might be pointless, but that, I mean, it's just what you do. It is what it is. I don't make the rules. You know, just like in GD scripts, you're supposed to snake case everything. You're not supposed to Pascal case or camel case, but still some people prefer camel case. So I have seen GD scripts in places where it's just camel cased, and it's weird. But you do, it's your code base. You're not getting it. Yeah, but what if I want other people to work on my code base? Right? Or if what if I want to work on another project that uses C#? And the convention I've been using is just my own convention, right? Then I have to basically relearn how to write C#, right? You don't want to build bad habits. Like if you're into building bad habits and you're confident in your ability to not, get super flooded, I guess that's cool. I am not. I think I'm a creature of habit. I tend to make the same mistakes every single time if I practice those mistakes the same way. Then other people have to use their convention, better code over cargo cult programming. I don't know about that one. No. It's convention for a reason, for reasons unbeknownst to me. You know, I'm not gonna go into a job interview and be like, hey, I know C#, and then I start writing like C# Python style. You know, I think I'm gonna get a lot of questions about my knowledge there. Yeah. It's a little better just to, you know, go with the flow. You know, I'm not here to rock the boat. I'm here to stay the course. And then you explain yourself. Yeah, you explain yourself saying that I don't believe in convention. I don't care about your rules. I don't think that you'll be a good fit here in our team. Sorry. We'll give you a call back if we ever need someone who doesn't follow the rules. You know. And yeah, then you would say, then you would just learn convention at that point, but if company doesn't like it, that's a bad place to work. I don't know about that, right? You need to fit into the team, and I don't think I've ever been on any Java team that was like, hey, you know what we should do? Let's write Java, but without any getters and setters. Like, can you write Java without getters and setters? Yes. Should you write getters and setters? Or write Java without getters and setters? Absolutely not. Right. If you join a company, you have to follow their convention, not yours. But when it's your code, you follow your own conventions? Well, that's what I'm saying, though, is that when you follow your own convention, you'll get stuck in just the way that you do things. Right? So it makes it harder to follow other people's conventions. You just follow the regular convention. And so you don't need to have two conventions that you follow. You just have the one convention. Or rather, the community conventions that make sense. No, following just one convention is a lot simpler than having to jump between corporate convention and personal convention. Now, if there is no corporate convention, right, if we're writing just, you know, some weirdo code in some weirdo language, then it doesn't really matter. But it's all about reducing mental overhead. So, if following convention lowers my mental overhead, aka maintains readability, I don't need to relearn how to read the code, then I think it's a plus. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. The right answer, if you join a company and they don't follow the regular conventions, what do you do? The right answer to follow the company convention, yes, this is true. This is true. But of course, they're paying me. Whereas they're paying me, whereas I don't really get paid to write C#. I follow the money, of course. So I don't know. Are you gonna? Who's paying me to break convention here with C#? By the way, I think I get a few cents per ad view. So it's not really enough for me to convince myself. And it is good practice for C# as well. Let's not forget that, is that I do need practice in just like a regular language at some point in order to do code interviews. We're literally talking about writing get set versus not writing anything. It's convention! It's not a field, it's a property. I'm using auto properties. These are auto properties. The JIT compiler generates the private node underscore obj for me, and then auto fills it into here. So I think it's fine. And then for some of these, I actually do use the get set. So I was using this because we need to go here. Unit type, body sprite, public, FSM, get set. And then we'll just need to set freaking everything. So, alright, so this is detection area. is equal to get node area to D. I think this is just called detection area. Yeah. And let's see, detection area, detected enemies needs to be a list of base units. Okay, so detected units is equal to new one of these. Boom. Is there a difference? Google says there's a difference between, so you can Google C# field versus property. What's the difference between a field and a property? Properties expose fields. Fields should almost always be kept private to a class and accessed via get and set properties. Properties provide a level of abstraction, allowing you to change the fields while not affecting the external way they are accessed by the things that you use in your class. By the things that use your class. And they're not required to encapsulate fields. They could do calculations or serve other purposes. So, and this is an auto property, blah, 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 blah. What happens if you write public string property nothing? Well, then it's just it's a public field, which you're not supposed to do. You can do it if you want, but it makes it unclear as to whether or not, or I guess what the intent was, right? The compiler doesn't stop you from doing it, right? But your intent no longer becomes clear, right? Like, why have private fields at all, right? Why not just make everything public and just know which things not to use? Forehead. Why even have visibility modifiers in the first place? Which I suppose, in my case, I am just making everything more or less public, but why not just have public fields and private fields? Why not just have everything be a public field and just remember which things to use? And then you don't even need to worry about visibility. Riddle me this. Weapon mount equals get node. This is a node 2D, yes. Which is called weapon mount. Because that's bad and not what I'm arguing. Well, I mean, the convention is to use visibility modifiers, right? So like, if we're talking about making things easier on the programmer, you could just make everything public. What say you in your defense? What makes it bad? Isn't that the convention? There's nothing in the code that really depends off of visibility modifiers. Attack timer is equal to get node. That doesn't make things easy on the programmer? Well, how about you just get good? Right, I think the things that make things easy on the programmer is making it easy to compare your code against other code, which is what convention is for, right? Everyone follows the kind of unspoken contract to just do the same thing. Why is this 0? Right. It makes your code easy to share and also makes it easy to compare your code. I keep coming up with all of these different things. What say you in your defense? Yeah, languages that don't have public, private are hard to code, and I'm getting. There are 4 possibilities: public field, private field, public property, private property. Well, actually, you can have, what is it? You can have no access modifier. You can also have no access modifier, which makes it visible to the package. You can have internal, which makes it only accessible to the current assembly. I actually don't really understand what internal does. I like protected. I actually like using protected. I'm a big fan of protected. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of access modifiers. So all I'm saying is that there's a lot of things you can do. All right, so unit, what did I call it? Unit type is equal to unit group none. And then we'll just have to set this in the ready function. So this is just your base constructor. We should try to call this base constructor whenever we can, because it makes it really easy. Oh, actually, some of these don't even work like that. Oh no. This is the constructor. You can't use getNode here. You have to do these in the ready function. Hold on. So bad. It's one of the tenets of Python to avoid that as much as possible. New languages don't do it that way. What? Access modifiers? Visibility? I don't know. I think visibility is one of those things that works better in bigger teams. Right? Because bigger teams, it's kind of hard to, you know, communicate which things you should be accessing, which things you shouldn't be accessing, without having like a lot of comments in your code. So as opposed to just writing comments everywhere, why did I space these all out? Instead of writing comments everywhere, you can instead do, you know, this is private. Don't try to access this variable, please. We've gone off on an irrelevant tangent. Perhaps. If weapon mount, get child count is greater than 0, then we'll do weapon is equal to weapon mount get child. We'll call it base weapon. Otherwise, else, weapon is equal to, load, oh no, I don't really know. Let's add it to do, add unarmed weapon here. I've not said private public is bad, only that avoiding public fields is bad convention. Given that you made it a public property anyways. Well, all properties are public, right? It doesn't make any sense to have a private property. It's encapsulation. It allows you to control access to the private, to the field if you need it. Adding noise to the code base for pretty much no reason. Nah. It's barely any noise. And it's all the same noise. And it makes it easy, right? So you can just skim. You just skim for the relevant parts that you need, right? I don't see a problem with it personally. It's all the, as long as your code looks all the same. You like, I don't read every single line, right? Like I think I was talking to someone earlier. They were saying that they like to use a lot of space between each line. It's like, I don't really understand. You know, personally, I group together blocks of code because it makes it easier for me to read. So then I only read the first part of the block and the second part and the last part of the block. So for like this, I don't read any of this middle part, pretty much. I read, oh, it's this part here, that's the important part. And then I can just kind of skim to the end and then ignore everything in between, right? I guess that's not really relevant, except for it makes it easy to skim depending on how you structure your code. So if your code is structured all the same, then it makes it easier to detect, oh, like if I made this one just a getter, no setter, then oh, okay, easy. A few percent, Making your code look all the same Another benefit. If you make a change, it's immediately obvious. Unless, I guess, you're slow at reading, which some people are. I'm very good at speed reading, though. So, we'll do all these on ready bar things. And then, this is the ready function. Yeah, FSM needs to be... FSM is equal to FSM. How do you do its new FSM? Maybe I should probably have like a construct FSM states thing that gives you an FSM as well. Yeah, that's what Git is for. Absolutely not. We don't touch that here. Actually, we do, but I'm gonna slap this onto a different branch. Which reminds me, I do need to put this on a different branch. Yeah. I am starting to look for new jobs again, which is also another reason why I'm trying to brush up on C# a little bit. Is that I don't know. I don't do too much Java. I can do Java if I need to. But it'd be also nice to do a C# project once in my life. Besides Unity, but I think Unity's kind of a different beast. I suppose Godot is also a different beast. I haven't got too much into Godot. Godot C#. Check out branch C# refactor. Git add all. Right, FSM, C#, start rewriting layer. Okay. Origin, C# refactor. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here though. I'm tired. I'm a sleepy lad. So, thanks for tuning in. I'll be live again on Tuesday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, working on, I don't know, something. Definitely a game for sure, but it might be in Python. It might be in Highlang. It might be this same game. Not sure. But yeah. Join the Discord if you want to keep track of stuff, or ask me questions about other projects. Check my projects on GitHub. Most of what I do is open source, like this face tracker, for example. Yeah, I will see you later. Goodbye. Oh no, I clicked on the wrong window. What am I doing?